Why did 14-year-old Carly Gregg unalive her mother and attempt to unalive her stepfather? Carly Gregg from Mississippi's trial is currently ongoing. Carly turned down a plea deal, which she would have gotten 40 years, and they're now going for the insanity defense. So Carly's mother, Ashley Smylie, was actually a teacher at the same school Carly attended. During trial, they tell a story about how Carly and her mother went to school that day, and that one of Carly's friends was extremely concerned because Carly had been smoking and had a whole separate cell phone that her mother knew nothing about. So this concerned friend decided to go and tell Carly's mother. So the school day goes by. Carly and her mother drive home from school. When they arrive home, Carly's mother, Heather, decides to go to her bedroom and start looking for things. This is where the vape pens come into play, where people are saying that she was looking for Carly's vapes. Now that's when the home video footage captures them arriving home. Carly goes and lets the dogs out and then goes in the home where the pew-pews are. She can then be seen on video footage walking through the house, holding them behind her back, and then going to the room where her mother was and ultimately doing what she did. After Carly does this, you see her walk back into the kitchen, sit down, and get on her phone. Now, it was said during trial that Carly attempted to contact 5 or 6 different friends, whether that be through FaceTime, text message, whatever. A few friends didn't answer. She was basically reaching out to these friends for help. Ultimately, one of Carly's friends did come to her home. It's being reported that Carly asked this friend if they were scared or squeamish of dead bodies. Carly's stepfather was not home when this was happening, but Carly allegedly told this friend that she had extra pew-pew things for her stepfather. When her stepfather does arrive, she attempted to unalive him. Luckily, the bullet only grazed him. Carly's stepfather then calls 911, and Carly and this friend take off out the back door and jump a fence into the neighborhood. Now, I don't know where the other friend ultimately ended up, but it's being reported that Carly went one way and the friend went another. We know shortly after that she was arrested. Now, Carly turned down a plea deal in which she would have gotten a 40-year sentence, and the defense is going for not guilty by reason of insanity, saying that Carly has mental health issues. This is video footage of 14-year-old Carly Gregg after she unalived her mother, Ashley Smylie.
Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over around to the front of you, okay? I'm going to move the handcuffs around to the front of you. Okay. Alright. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to swab your hands, okay? Right. Then I'll ask you a bunch of questions, but obviously you fired with a correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Alright, look. I need you to hold your hand out like this. I'm going to do your right hand first, okay? It's your right hand. Just like that.
Swab up here.
What is this?
It's a GSLR. It shows which hand did you shoot with?
Okay.
Which hand did you shoot with?
I'm gonna go up.
Flop the hand, turn the hand over.
Turn it over.
And rub on the outside part around the knuckles.
Where do you want, where do you want his phone? I guess you can put it in my vehicle with my key. The key fob is in my left pocket.
Alright, now so go ahead and take it. Alright.
Is my stepdad okay?
I don't know, baby. I can't talk to you about
Oh, he's here. I understand.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Lisa, what
Breaking news, Carly Gregg has been found guilty. This is currently going on right now. We're still waiting on sentencing, but Carly was found guilty on first-degree murder, attempted murder, and tampering with evidence. 14-year-old Carly Gregg unalived her mother, Ashley Smylie, in March of this year. Carly's mother, Heather, 40 years old, was actually a teacher at Northwest Rankin High School. Now, originally, Carly was offered a plea deal in which she would have gotten 40 years, but the defense tried to go with not guilty by reason of insanity. But Carly's attorneys wanted to prove not guilty by reason of insanity. A psychiatrist was brought in that concluded that Carly suffered from bipolar disorder. However, the state argued that Carly did not meet the requirements for her to be deemed criminally insane. State's expert witness, Dr. Jason Pickett, a psychiatrist, claimed that Carly was not insane when she unalived her mother and was aware of the harm that her actions would cause. Additionally, he stated that Carly had narcissistic tendencies, calling her actions diabolical. Now, like I said, this is currently ongoing. We are waiting for the jury to return to determine what sentencing will be. 15-year-old Carly Gregg was just found guilty on all charges. Here's the video.
Verdict of the jury is count one. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. Count two. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of attempted murder as charged in the indictment. Count three. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in the indictment. Please be seated, Ms. Gregg. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury is custom for the court to poll the jury. I have to do it each time. And for each count, I'm not being rude. The quickest way for me to get through this is just simply point at you. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? That verdict is proper and unanimous. As to count two, we, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of attempted murder as charged in the indictment. Beginning on the first row. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Yes. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes. On the back row, sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Count three, we, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in the indictment. Beginning on the first row, ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes, on the back row, sir, is that your verdict? Yes, ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? All right. All three verdicts appear to be unanimous. The court will enroll the verdict.
Part 2, a 15-year-old Carly Gregg who was just found guilty. Here is her sentencing.
The verdicts read as follows. As to count one, we, the jury, sentence the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, to life imprisonment. As to count two, we, the jury, sentence the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, to life imprisonment. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, just as I did with the verdicts of guilt, not trying to be rude. It's the quickest way we can get it done. As to count one, we, the jury, sentence the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, to life imprisonment. Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes,
sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? On the back row, sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? As to count two, we, the jury, sentence the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, to life imprisonment. On the front row, ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? On the back row, ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Sir, is that your verdict? And sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Verdict appears to be in proper form. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, please exit. I will be there in just a moment to release you, okay? Everyone remain seated while the jury exits. Ms. Gregg, please come to the podium. Your sentences will be as follows. As to count one, the jury having fixed the verdict at life imprisonment, this court will sentence you to life imprisonment. As to count two, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. As to count three, you'll be sentenced to 10 years to serve. You'll be required to pay court cost fees and assessments in the amount of $431.50.
The defense tried to go with not guilty by reason of insanity. Carly turned down a plea deal in which she would have served 40 years, and now she's just been sentenced with 2 life sentences plus 10 years ran consecutively.